Welcome to today's Arabic Explainer. I am so incredibly glad you've joined me. Whether you're completely new to the Arabic language or you're just looking to, strengthen your foundation, I want you to take a deep breath and relax. Learning Arabic is a beautiful journey, and my goal today is to guide you step by step. We're going to make every single concept clear, accessible, and fun. Honestly, Arabic is simple, it's totally understandable, and you can absolutely learn this. So let's dive right into this wonderful learning experience together.
Today, we're focusing our attention on Madina Book 1, Lesson 2. We'll be looking closely at the foundational topics of masculine and feminine nouns alongside demonstrative pronouns. Now, demonstrative pronouns is just a fancy grammar term for the words we use to point to things, like this and that. I know grammar can sometimes sound a little intimidating, but trust me, learning these concepts is just a simple, logical process. By the end of our session, you're going to feel totally confident building your very own basic Arabic sentences.
So, here is exactly what we're going to cover today. First, noun genders, really understanding the difference between masculine and feminine words. Second, we'll learn how to instantly spot feminine words using what I like to call the magic letter. And third, demonstrative pronouns, learning exactly how to say this and that correctly. Okay, let's start with our very first concept, understanding what is masculine. In Arabic, the word for masculine is muthakkar. I'll say that again, nice and slow, muthakkar. Now here is a really important rule to remember. In Arabic, nouns have grammatical gender. This means even non-living things have a gender assigned to them. So we have rajul, meaning man, and walid, meaning boy. Those are biologically male, which makes sense. But we also have kitab for book, bait for house, and qalam for pen. Obviously, a book isn't biologically male, but grammatically, kitab is a masculine noun, and as a general rule, a common masculine noun doesn't have any special marker at the end of it. It's really just the standard form of the word.
And that naturally brings us to the other half of the language, feminine nouns. The Arabic term for feminine is mu'annath. Let's practice that together. Mu'annath. We have bint, which means girl. But I want you to notice the next three words, sayyara for car, haqiba for bag, and madrasa for school. Take a really close look at the very end of those last three words. Notice anything? They all share a specific shape right at the end, and that little shape is going to be your biggest clue.
That shape is our magic letter, the ta marbuta. It looks like a little tied loop with two dots right on top, and it is a total game changer for beginners. When a noun ends with this tied shape, it is very commonly a feminine word. For example, the word for a female student is taliba, and it ends beautifully with that exact ta marbuta. Now, just a quick heads up, this is a very common sign, not a 100% absolute rule for every single word. Some feminine words, like bint, don't have it. But honestly, as you're starting out, the ta marbuta is your most trusted friend for quickly identifying feminine nouns.
Let's actually put them side by side so you can see this in action. With our masculine words, our muthakkar, kitab, bait, qalam, walad, there is no single unifying marker at the end. But with the feminine words, the mu'annath, the pattern is super clear. Sayyara, haqiba, and madrasa all proudly wear their ta marbuta. Just by simply glancing at the structure of these words, you can instantly see the difference between the masculine words that lack a marker and the feminine words that have that tied letter.
So you might be wondering, why does knowing the gender even matter? Well, that leads us right to our third goal, demonstrative pronouns. In English, if I want to point to something right in front of me, I just say this is a book or this is a car. Easy, right? But in Arabic, you absolutely must know a noun's gender before you point to it. If the object is near you and it's masculine, you use the word hadha. So, hadha kitab, this is a book. But if the object is near you and it's feminine, you switch to hadhihi sayyara, this is a car. You literally cannot mix them up. The gender of your pointing word has to perfectly match the gender of the object itself.
Now, what if the object is far away? In English, we just swap this for that. Well, in Arabic, that same golden gender rule still applies. For a masculine object that's far away, we use the word dhalika. So, dhalika bait, that is a house. But if that far away object is feminine, we use a different word, tilka. For instance, if you're pointing to a bag across the room, you'd say tilka haqiba, that is a bag. Notice how beautifully structured this language is? The pointing words change depending on distance, but the logic of matching the gender remains perfectly consistent.
All right, let's lock this in. This is our golden rule chart, basically the core memory tool of our entire lesson today. I'm going to pause for just a second so you can really digest this. If an object is near and masculine, you use hatta. Near and feminine, use hatihi. Far and masculine, use thalika. Far and feminine, use tilka. Honestly, just memorizing these 4 words and how they map to gender and distance is going to unlock a massive portion of basic Arabic conversation for you. It's a real game changer.
Okay, so how do we actually use this in real life without getting tripped up? Here is the most important piece of advice to avoid beginner mistakes. Do not choose your pointing word first. You must always start with the noun. Here is our totally foolproof 3-step formula. Step 1, look at the noun itself. Let's take Sayyara, for example. Step 2, identify its gender. We see it has a tam or buta at the end, so boom, it's feminine. Step 3, check the distance. Let's pretend it's parked right next to us, so it's near. Therefore, near plus feminine equals hathi. Put it together and you get hathi Sayyara. This is a car. See how logical that is?
Let's actually practice this method together, step by step, just like we're sitting at a table together. Take the word kitab. Gender, masculine. Distance, let's say near. The answer must be hava kitab. What about Sayyara? Gender, we know it's feminine. Distance, near. So the answer is havihi Sayyara. Now let's try objects that are far away. Bait is masculine and it's far, so we use talika bait. And finally, hakiba is feminine and it's far away, which perfectly matches with tilka hakiba. It's like a puzzle, right? Our 3-step formula just snaps the pieces perfectly into place every single time.
Now, as a teacher, I definitely see a few frequent errors pop up and I want you to easily avoid them. You cannot say hadihi kitab. Why? Because kitab is masculine, but hadihi is strictly for feminine nouns. It creates a mismatch that just sounds very unnatural to an Arabic speaker. Likewise, you can't say hada sayyara. Always remember, gender harmony is the key. The noun and the pointing word basically have to hold hands and be the exact same gender. If one is masculine, the other must be masculine. No exceptions here.
Okay, practice time. I want to invite you to actively test your knowledge right now. I've got 4 words for you, and the distance is provided for each. Number 1 is kitab, and it's near. Number 2 is sayyara, and it's near. Number 3 is bait, and it's far. Number 4 is hakiba, and it's far. I'm going to pause for just a few seconds. Think carefully about the gender of each word, look for that magic letter, and then choose your pointing word. Go ahead, take a moment.
All right, let's check how you did. Here is the answer key. For number 1, kitab is masculine and near, so we use hada kitab. For number 2, sayyara has our magic tam marbuta, making it feminine and near, so hadihi sayyara. For number 3, bait is masculine and far away, so that becomes valika bait. And for number 4, hakiba is feminine and far, giving us tilka hakiba. If you got those right, give yourself a massive pat on the back. You are literally building grammatically correct Arabic phrases all on your own.
To wrap up our explainer today, let's look at this final summary. If you take away just one thing, make it this one-line formula. Identify the noun, find its gender, check the distance, and finally, choose the demonstrative. Arabic grammar is incredibly logical. It's really just a matter of following the steps. You learn the gender, muthakkar or muannath, you check the distance, and you pick haha, havihi, falika, or thilka. It is simple, it is structured, and it is entirely within your grasp. Before we go, I want to leave you with this thought. Look around the room you're in right now. What objects can you point to using exactly the words we learned today? The world around you is your new classroom. Keep practicing, be proud of your progress, and I cannot wait to see you in our next lesson.